Monaco is the jewel in Grand Prix racing's crown. Yet its narrow ribbon of tarmac wending a tortuous path through an avenue of unyielding guardrail represents one of the most precarious challenges of all for the professional Grand Prix driver. Ayrton Senna received a very stark reminder of this reality during the first free practice session when he crashed his McLaren heavily under braking for the tricky Saint-Devote right-hander. Of course, the sun doesn't always shine, even in Monte Carlo. What's more, when it's wet, the surface is like sheet ice. As Schumacher found out. And De Cesaris. And Andretti. Damon Hill was fastest in the patchy, damp conditions, pleasing his mum in the process. Senna shares a word with his girlfriend. And in the Ferrari camps, they get down to some solid thinking. Jean Alesi spun his Ferrari at the chicane. Senna's McLaren got badly off course at Saint-Devote once again, this time confining itself to a spin. Luca Badoer did quite a serious nose and tail job to his Lola Ferrari. Then Senna spun again at the chicane, while Hill apparently duplicated the manoeuvre seconds later. For Prost, however, it was all a bit of a yawn, and pole position duly fell his way yet again. Schumacher appears unhappy with his time, while Barrichello shares his 21st birthday cake with team chief Eddie Jordan as the Brazilian is serenaded in suitable style. All together now. As the shadows lengthen, Monaco's character subtly changes and the great and the good get all dressed up to tackle the Principality's other circuit, the party circuit. So, for the first time, Schumacher is on the front row, with former Monaco winner and teammate Patrese in 6th. McLaren test driver Mika Häkkinen may not have been taking part in the Grand Prix, but he managed to show a clean pair of heels to all his rivals in the supporting Porsche Super Cup race. Schumacher looking even more confident than usual as he lined his Benetton up in 2nd place on the starting grid. Prost got the jump off the line, too sharply as things were to transpire, with Senna forcing his way ahead of Hill to take 3rd place as the pack jostled through Saint-Devote for the first time. Further back, Marc Blundell found himself obliged to steer into the escape road. As this replay shows, Prost was judged to have jumped the start. Although Senna was doing well, his teammate Michael Andretti had a distinctly less than rewarding first lap. Going down towards the tight Lowe's hairpin, the American suddenly found his McLaren plunging into the back of a Minardi. Here's Prost paying a 10-second penalty for that false start. But he then compounded his own difficulties by stalling his engine. By the time he finally managed to coax the Renault V10 back into life, he was way down the running order and a lap behind the leading bunch. A pit board now signalled the good news to Schumacher that his Benetton was leading, but a leak of hydraulic fluid over the engine caused the car's gear change and suspension systems to shut down. He eventually rolled to a halt, and marshals were quick to extinguish a momentary engine fire. Berger chased after Hill with great zest, the Austrian determined to wrest 2nd place from the Williams driver. Unfortunately, Gerhard got a little over-optimistic and tried to force his way through on the inside under braking for the Lowe's hairpin. There just wasn't sufficient room. Damon kept his cool. He hadn't allowed his engine to stall and, willed on by wife Georgie, continued to finish 2nd. Berger was out on the spot with broken suspension. Senna lapped Prost in the closing stages on his way to scoring what was a record 6th Monaco Grand Prix victory. Compatriot Christian Fittipaldi, having survived that first lap mauling from Andretti, ensured that it was a double success for Brazil by bringing his Minardi home in an excellent 5th place to claim 2 points. Senna shared his unconcealed delight with his McLaren team colleagues before sharing the congratulations with second and third men Hill and Alesi to round off a truly memorable afternoon. And we see it's finally some good news for Ferrari, finishing on the podium for the first time this season.